Still with TVC News at 10 and still on Democracy Day celebration, we have joining us for more insight Ambassador Joe Keshi to talk to us more. Good evening and welcome to TVC News at 10.
Good evening and thanks for having me.
All right, so let's start this way. Today being Democracy Day and June 12, protesters were dispersed with tear gas while we saw some were, violently clamped down upon. How do you reconcile this with, the president making that landmark decision to designate June 12 Democracy Day? How do you reconcile the values of June 12 and how protesters were treated today?
It is, to start with, it's very difficult to reconcile when you realize what democracy is all about, and that it's not all about elections, it's all about freedom of speech, it's all about freedom to demonstrate, it's all about listening and hearing the voice of the people that elected you in the first instance. It is beautiful that we have today as a celebration of June 12th, but in reality, when you look at what we call democracy in this country, we are actually far from being a truly democratic state. And I sincerely hope that as we celebrate today, all of us in this country will really reflect on what democracy is all about. Regrettably, not enough of that is being done. And which is why when I look at what we call celebration of Democracy Day, it's almost like we are not serious, or it's in shambles, because nobody. Look, for example, let me just try and clarify what I'm trying to say. Today being Democracy Day, it's a day in which we do nothing but talk about democracy itself and how far we've come. I heard somebody talking of the young ones being afraid that they might be shot or this might happen to them and so on. It is because it's not been ingrained in us what this day truly represents. We are not even celebrating enough, not just Abiola, but all the people who died on June 12th that this country will experience democracy. And all we have been doing is show of power, show of influence, show of wealth. But the real democracy is yet to come in this country. And we can only hope that moving forward, one of these days, we actually begin to experience what it means to live in a democratic country.
Ambassador, still on the point, some argue that a forceful dispersal of protesters today was inevitable, particularly if we recall what happened about 6 months ago during the #EndSARS protest, the violence that characterized that process. Hence, this is a Pyrrhic costs for peace. What are your thoughts on this? And what does this portend, if that is the case, what does this portend for free speech and freedom of association in the near future?
Look, it is saddening when people make these comments that in the name of peace. No. Look, I have made this point in a number of interviews. As a young student, we demonstrated and we clashed with the police in the University of Ibadan. It is saddening that how many years after I left the university, we are still having the problem of the Nigerian police inability to manage simple demonstrations of particularly young ones. In democracy, it is your right to protest, for goodness sake. It's not all about peace. It's your right to protest. People should recognize this. Democracy is not all about elections. It includes your right to protest. It includes your right to disagree and agree. And these rights need to be respected. And by the way, it's entrenched in our Constitution. So it's not a question as if anytime people say that they want to demonstrate, people go about trying to disperse them. No. Look, as we speak all over the world, in a number of countries, people are demonstrating and nobody is stopping them. It is the right in a democratic system for people to demonstrate. And that right should not be taken away, from them. If we had actually, if democracy has been ingrained in the last how many years since 1999, and people have a clear understanding what it is, particularly our leaders, they have a clear understanding of what it is. The police respect the fundamental rights of the people.
Thank
the
you.
military do the same thing. We will not be talking about whether people are dispersing during demonstration or not.
Thank you very much,
Everybody
Ambassador Joe Keshi. I'm afraid we must bring the conversation to an end now so that we can manage our time. We thank you very much for your contribution on TVC News at 10.